honorable colleagues. My name is Mukhtar Zakari Chawai, member representing Kauru Federal Constituency, and I'm from Kaduna State. I come under Order 8, Rule 4, matters of urgent public importance. My motion is on the urgent need for COVID-19 emergency travel regulations and further protocols. Basically, talking about sanctions, restrictions, or regulations on travel policy in and out of Nigeria because of coronavirus. Pandemic, a public health emergency of grave international concern, recalls that Nigeria's COVID-19 index case patient was reported in February 2020. Due to the exceptional work led by Nigerian Center for Disease Control, Immigration Services, Federal and Lagos State by regulating and banning entry for visitors from frontline COVID-19 countries, setting up emergency regulations not only for land, air, and sea borders, but internal regulations to cover institutions such as schools, agencies, and non-essential workers coming from home. Informed that 15 African countries have officially reported their COVID-19 index cases. Of note is 5 West African countries of Ghana, Togo, Senegal, Burkina Faso, and Ivory Coast, who enjoy free movement through our land borders. Further aware that primary responsibility of any government is protection of life and property. Alarmed that no travel regulations have been put in place to control entry, especially from high-risk countries. Further alarmed that no protocols are being put in place in case there is need to shut down work and business premises. Accordingly resolves to urge the federal government and Foreign Affairs Ministry to immediately apply an emergency status on all Nigerian embassies and consular posts. No fresh visas shall be processed from any country with COVID-19 circulation unless on essential grounds. Urge Ministry of Health, Immigration Services, and Nigerian Center for Disease Control to urgently develop COVID-19 emergency regulations at every port of entry and border crossing. Urge the federal government to introduce emergency protocols in case there is need to shut down business premises. Thank you very much. Africans have imposed restrictions, especially from high-risk countries, coming into their nations and out of their nations. This is basically to limit the spread of coronavirus. The good work of relevant agencies, such as the National Center for Disease Control, needs to be sustained. And a way to sustain this is to ensure there are...
Honorable colleagues, please, can we maintain some silence? The motion is about restricting flights into Nigeria, as has been done by other countries, so that we don't take things for granted and open our doors to the importation of this deadly virus. I think it's important enough for us to...
After their sitting, that the federal government should limit entry into Nigeria via air to only 2 locations, Lagos and Abuja. This is basically to ensure so that the nation can curb and manage the spread of coronavirus. Now, this is an advice that the nation can evaluate and see if fit to implement. Protocols that need to be put in place in case business premises are shut down. Other nations have shut down offices, schools, and business offices. Now, what protocols do we have in place when such or if such happens in Nigeria? There should be an awareness campaign currently going on so that people can actually envisage that there might be a possibility of closing business premises. And when these business premises are closed, what are we going to do to ensure work carries on at least to a reasonable degree? If schools are closed down, how are we going to manage the situation when it comes to things like homeschooling and things like that? Palliative measures are measures that have been introduced by various governments across the world. Fortunately, the CBN has come up with its own policy measure in order to provide succor and assuage the sufferings of Nigerians because of the spread of coronavirus. Palliative measures such as the reduction in the interest rate, extension of moratorium, and the 50 billion naira credit targeted at specific sectors. Now, this is highly commendable, but more needs to be done to ensure that succor is provided to the nation. Beyond that, sporting activities, gatherings, and other social activities have either been suspended, deferred, or banned across the world. Nigeria needs to look inwards and implement something similar. Thank you very much. I so move.
As amended, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. The ayes have it.